Okay, we're here. We're live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Today's going to be just very laid back, casual. I'm not going to be on here too long. I'm going to really try to cap this off at 20 minutes. If you're watching the replay of this, I'll make sure to leave the timestamp below for when I get straight to the point. I just want to allow maybe about 5 minutes to let some people come into the live stream. And like this is going to be done, in kind of the open chat kind of style, like how I'd normally do, if I had the good brother Rob with me from Black Light Revelations 2. Like I said, today is going to be very casual, very casual. Just want to speak on a few things real quickly, kind of make an announcement and just give my thoughts on certain things, in this space, right? Whatever you'd call this space. I don't know what are we calling it, the conscious space, the B1 space, whatever you want to call it. I just want to share some thoughts on it. So like I said, make sure you hit that thumbs up button on the way in, and let's just see what's going on in the chat. Like I said, I'm not going to do the whole TD News Network and show you a bunch of news clips right now. We just going to chill and do this casual. So I see Kevin Black is in here. What's good? Q Wallace, CJ Wiggins. Who else is in here? So far, that's all that's commented. Minute and 26 seconds in. Like I said, we're going to give it about 5 minutes, and then I'll get straight to the point. And I'm not going to be here too long. See, people are starting to come in here now. If you can see and hear me clearly, just hit 1 in the chat, in the live chat. Hit 1 in the live chat. We have to keep applying this pressure in all areas. This country is feeling this pressure, CJ Wiggins. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. I want to discuss how we can actually apply this pressure, and really take this stuff to the next level, especially when it comes to, brothers and sisters in my position where, you have some sort of influence, right? I can command a few thousand people to watch a video. So, with that being said, there's a responsibility with that to just step things up and take things a little further. But like I said, I'll get into that in just a minute. We're 2 minutes in. I see the ones coming in. I'm glad to hear that everybody can see and hear me clearly. Where's my man? I just missed him. Oh, man, where is he at? Where's Mo Fax? I thought I saw Mo Fax. There he goes. Mo Fax, what's good, bro? Mo Fax, I see you. Who else? Okay, everybody can see and hear me clearly. Hit that like button, please. Dion Price says, love your channel and your content, bro. I appreciate that, Dion. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We're going to jump into this thing in about 2 more minutes. Okay, about 2 more minutes. We're going to get to it. Mama's cooking. I'm about to be on my Kwame Brown. I'm gonna give y'all I'm gonna give y'all, some of Mama's cooking. Some of Mama's cooking. You know what? I don't like to curse or say like bad word. Y'all know I don't like to curse and stuff like that. But one of my favorite sayings from Kwame Brown, man, is that, when he talking about, like, let's just say Steven Jackson, Dapper Scott, I see you, brother. Thank you. Or not Dapper, this Draper. I see you, brother. Draper Scott, Dapper Scott. I always thought the name was Dapper, but it's Draper, I guess. But when Kwame be like, when he's talking about Steven Jackson or everybody, instead of saying a real nigga, right? He'll be like, he think he a hell of a nigga. I don't know why that's so funny for me, man. Oh man, and let me see. He said, "What's your take on Lori Lightfoot?" I'll get to that. I'll get to Lori Lightfoot in a minute. But Lori Lightfoot thinks she a hell of a nigga. I like when Kwame say that. That's just funny to me. A hell of a nigga. He think he's some hell of a nigga. I like that. It's just funny. It's just funny. All right, we got 30 more seconds to go before we get into it. Kwame, man. Oh, man. That man came back with a vengeance. Kwame think he a hell of a nigga, Oh, man. That's funny. That's funny. Bring the heat, bruh. You on the west side of Chicago. Okay, bring the heat, bro. We on the west side of Chicago. Like I said, today's gonna be real casual. Okay, we 5 minutes in. So let me go ahead and get into it. Okay. As far as Lori Lightfoot is concerned, with our brothers, not Cash App, with our brothers Super Chat. I'm not gonna speak directly to her, right, in Chicago and what's going on over there, but what I'm gonna talk about does apply to her, right? Now, one of the things that I want to start doing moving forward with this channel, right, that I really want to take things to the next level. Like I was saying earlier, when you're able to command a certain number of people to, watch your videos and hear what you have to say, and you have some level of influence, with that, there is a responsibility that I feel personally, you have a responsibility to just figure out how to take things to the next level. And one of the things that I want to start doing, right, is I want to start bringing on political candidates, brothers and sisters that are running in your neck of the woods, in your town, your city, your state, so on and so forth, to try to give them some shine. Like, let's just be real for a minute, okay? With all the stuff that we talk about concerning politics and how trash the CBC is, Congressional Black Caucus, and all these other political candidates and people that are supposed to be speaking for us. Nobody is coming that's going to be speaking our language anytime soon, as far as the Democratic Party goes, through mainstream media, right? That's not happening. It's not going to happen. The only way it could happen is if we're bringing these people up ourselves, and we talk about stuff like this. But to what degree are we actually trying to make it happen, right? So very recently, I want to say a couple weeks ago, I was just checking my email because I'm really bad at that. And there's a brother by the name of David who emailed me, and he recommended a brother to me whose name I'm not going to say just yet, but I most likely am going to try everything my best to bring him onto the show. There's a brother in New York. He's from Harlem. And if I remember correctly, he's running for like New York City Council, right? And as I'm listening to, what he talks about on his lives, and I'm reading his Instagram post, this brother is speaking our language, right? He sounds like he could be me or anybody else that's in, quote, new black media. You know what I mean? And these are the kind of brothers that people like myself that have a platform need to be pushing forward, and giving a spotlight to, in order to get them into office. And for me, one of my biggest gripes, you can say, with this space is that we don't do that. And I don't understand why that is. It doesn't really make sense to me that we're not doing that. It doesn't make sense to me that we're not bringing forth brothers and sisters that are legit from the grassroots, that are running for city council and so on and so forth, and propping them up so that, we can give them the exposure that they need to help them get some traction, at least, They may not necessarily win. You never know. You don't know what's going to happen. But to be able to command the audiences that we do, and not just myself, but so many other of us, so many more of us that do what I do, and they command larger audiences than me, why we're not bringing forth political candidates that speak our language and that come from the grassroots, why we haven't been doing that, or at least I haven't noticed us doing that, is beyond me. And the more I think about it, to be honest, I know why we don't do that. I know why, right? And one of the reasons that we don't do it is because of fear. What happens with that is this, right? Say I bring this brother on. We're going to do a hypothetical. Say I bring this brother on after vetting him and going through his Instagram and everything like that. And I like him. I feel like he's speaking our language, and I bring him on. Now, let's say he becomes, he wins New York City Council. And in some extreme, hypothetical, I don't know, man, he does a 180 and he ends up being some sort of a Candace Owens type, or Officer Tatum type, right? And he does his other 180 while he's in office. The reason that, in my opinion, why I don't see us pushing these kind of guys and taking those chances more often is because we don't want to be the one, right? We're scared to be the one that lifted him up and gave him a platform, and then he ended up being something that, he ended up being something that he ended up being somebody else, we'll say, right? And nobody wants to take that heat for that. Nobody wants to take that kind of accountability. I feel like a lot of us are just trying to really, protect our images, protect our brands, and don't really want to take that next step, to really doing what needs to be done to enact the kind of change that we need in our community through politics, because that's what we're always talking about is politics, right? And like I've said, like I've said, we only have about a decade, the rest of this decade. After 2030, we're not going to be politically relevant anymore. Just not. Black folks aren't going to be politically relevant. And I'm going to do a separate video very soon speaking specifically on that. Okay? Specifically on that, because some of you might not really know and understand what I'm saying when I say that. But, now is the time to strike. Now is the time to act as it pertains to using the strongholds that we have in certain cities and certain wards and certain neighborhoods to get the people in office that need to be there, so that they can bring about the certain level of change that we feel that we need to see. And if people like myself who have these positions, if we're not taking it upon ourselves to introduce these people to you so that they can get the necessary exposure they need to get in position to get into office, then it's like, what are we doing really? What are we really doing? Because it's easy for me to just sit here and, give commentary all the time. It's needed, it's necessary, right? But outside of that, then what? Right? Where are we going from here? What are we really talking about? So that's just something that I'd like to see more often. Now, if you are aware of brothers and sisters that are running for office in your city, state, ward, county, I left the email link. I left the email in the description, right? And it's submission@tdhiphop.com. That is submission@tdhiphop.com. Let me put in the live chat right now. It should post. Let me see. Sometimes when you try to put an email in the comment section or in live chats, it doesn't, let me break it up. Just so let me break it up. Okay. Put it in the live chat. Let me just kind of mess it up a little bit to make sure that it shows up. Okay, submission@tdhiphop.com. Like I said, if you know, right? If you know of anybody who's running for political office, in your city, grassroots, right? They're grassroots. Send them over this way. Send them over to TD Hip Hop Media. Make sure you email that email address that I just put into the live chat, submission at tdhiphop.com, so that we can really get this thing going and really get things moving and shaking. Because like I said, if all we're doing is just simply giving commentary, it's needed, but then what? You know what I mean? But then what? We got to elevate our own folks up. And the brother that is running for council, New York, was it called New York City Council in Harlem? He from the grassroots. He's a brother just like me, regular. Like I said, I'll most likely be bringing him on, after I vet him a little bit more. But like when he goes on his Instagram lives and all that kind of stuff, he's just, nothing fancy. He doesn't even have the camera up horizontal, it's vertical. You just see him shirt a little bit wrinkled up, but he really from the grassroots stuff, and he's really talking our language. So who's going to elevate them? Who's going to do it? If we don't do it, who's going to do it? You know what I mean? And I really like to see that happening moving forward. We have to. Like I said, if we don't do that, like I said, I don't like cursing like that. We just talking shit. Just talking shit. Because no time soon are we going to get some sort of candidate in wherever you're from that's going to come through by way of the mainstream media that you're going to actually know and hear about, that's going to be speaking your language, and they're going to do what needs to be done. We have to do it ourselves. you know? So that's really it, to be honest with you. I just wanted to speak on that real quick and let you guys know. Submission at tdhiphop.com. Submission at tdhiphop.com. If you know any political candidates that are running for office, that's grassroots, that's really speaking our language, submission at tdhiphop.com is where I want you to send them over my way so that I can vet them out, and then I could at least use my platform to help give them a voice and to amplify their voices up. You feel me? So that we can get them to where they need to be. So with that being said, I'm gonna just go through the comment section real quick, see what you guys are talking about. I see somebody said something about Candace Owens. I don't know what exactly they said. Candace is a con artist. She'll say anything for profit. Okay, so that's what you were saying about Candace Owens. Okay, so I mean, that's exactly who she is. And the thing is, like I was saying, you never know. You know, you help give somebody a voice. You know, you help put them in office. You don't know if they're gonna flip the script on you. You know, people say a lot of things that sound good and that sound great, and they consistently say things that sound good and sound great, and then, you know, they get a taste of power, you know, they get corrupted, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But in this moment in time, when you really only have about 9 more years of political relevance as in terms of your votes meaning something, now's the time to be scared. You can't be scared. You can't be worried about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You can't be worried about it. Let's see what else you guys are talking about real quick. I don't know how to be concerned about the influence money. Let me put this up on the screen. Q Wallace says, I don't know how to not be concerned about the influence money has on politics and politicians. Need some apparatus to hold them accountable. Well, the apparatus to hold them accountable is us. You know, it's us. We're the ones that are going to hold them accountable, because they'll be completely grassroots and funded by us and through us, you know? And if that's a fear, right? If we're going to walk, and I'm not saying Q Wallace, I'm not saying you're scared or whatever. I'm just speaking in general. You know, we can't afford to walk around in that kind of fear, you know, that they're going to get corrupted. You know, they're going to flip as soon as they get into office. Because if that's the case, if we're just going to have that fear, so we're not even going to take that step to use our platforms to elevate these folks, you know, because they might flip, you know, and be on something else, well, then everything that we talk about is a waste of time, right? What are we really discussing? You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, I really want to take that next step, man, to start bringing people into the fold and help elevating them, if, you know, after being properly vetted, you know, if I feel like, you know, they're speaking our language, you know, if they're speaking our language. What else you guys talking about? Q Wallace said, I hear you. Yeah, for sure, Q Wallace. What else we talking about? Talking about some Jesse Lee Peterson's delusional old man. We definitely not bringing no Jesse Lee Petersons into the fold, you know. You've made some very informative. Thank you very much, Muffet. I'm gonna be on here for about like 2 more minutes, you know. Then we're gonna bounce. Tanya Princess, what does it say? Tanya Princess says, we need to organize. Yeah, well, we need to organize and move strategically, and be serious about what we say we're about, you know. That's what I was talking about at the end of the last video. It's time for this thing to really go beyond just having conversations on the internet and keeping your foot on their necks and exposing folks for the frauds that they are. That's very necessary. Nobody's saying it's not necessary. It's extremely necessary. But after that, then what? Right? Then what? Let's make sure that we're elevating folks in a position to do what they need to do on our behalf and truly speak for us. The Traveling Man, I appreciate your contributions. The Traveling Man, he says, great and informative channel. Thank you very much, The Traveling Man. I appreciate you. Let's see. It looks like we might have a little opposition to what I'm saying. Not opposition. I don't want to say opposition, you know, but, you know, let's get some other, you know, let's get some more. Let's see what other people have to say. pronounce. Oh, okay. Draper Scott. He said, my name is pronounced Draper. I got you, Draper. I appreciate you, brother. You're always showing support. You feel me? And I always see you like on TD News Network as well. You're always holding it down. Let's see what Money Man has to say about this, because he might have a little, you know, he has some input. True, but if we don't own land, banks, and corporations, it will be hard to leverage politicians. Let me move this from the screen. It'll be hard to leverage politicians. If we're funding these folks ourselves, in my opinion, and maybe it's just me being naive, if we're truly elevating them, you know, through the grassroots, through channels like my own, and we all do this movement collectively as a unit, maybe I'm a little naive, but I think there'll be a sense of loyalty on their side, especially if they're truly coming from the grassroots and speaking our language, you know, like this brother that I have in mind that was recommended to me. Like I said, I'm not going to say his name just yet, but I may, you know, have him on pretty soon. Let's see. What's the homie Mofax saying? It's not only about who we are willing to vote in, it's more important who we're willing to vote out. I agree, Mofax. I agree with you 100%. Let's see what our brother right here is saying. Dolomite fan number 1. Really, we have to repair the rift between black men and women, to repair our families before we can begin to mobilize. I understand where you're coming from when you say that, but that's a tall task, you know, at this stage in the game. And the reason that I say that is if we're going to repair our families and the family unit and all that good stuff, you know, you're talking about, you know, I feel that there's going to have to be a lot of things that need to change within the community through political action for that to even really come about. It's easy to say, you just got to get your stuff together, right? But when you have the kind of issues and disparities in our communities that we have, how do you get your stuff together, right? As a whole, as a group, as a people. Individually, yeah, you can get your stuff together. But when we're talking about as a whole, as a people, how are we doing that? Because everybody knows we got to, you know, fix the family structure and men, you know, relationship between black men and black women. I mean, we all know and understand this to be true, right? But when your community is as damaged as it is, it's pretty hard to accomplish that goal, especially when we're as far behind the 8 ball as we are because of all the things that this government has put us through, right? In terms of constantly sabotaging the family and the black family and the black community as a whole, you know? So in my personal opinion, I'm not saying that you're all the way wrong, brother, but, you know, and it's just, you know, I'm not saying you're wrong at all, but just in my personal opinion, you know, for that to happen the way we want it to, concerning the black family and mending the relationship between black men and black women, you know, there's going to be some political action that's going to need to take place to repair some of the damage that's happened in our communities. You know, it was just certain basic resources being put back into the community. You know what I mean? There's all type of just crazy disparities going on in the education system, all type of wild stuff that's happening that's not being addressed. Excuse me, somebody was driving crazy. And if those things aren't being addressed, then I don't really know and understand how we do everything else. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. The comments are really flowing in now. What else you guys saying in here? I said I was going to be in here 20 minutes. I'll stay in about 5 more because let's see, 5 more minutes. Hey, what's up, family? I believe deeply in my heart that someone, oh my God, give me just a moment. Hey, what's up, family? I believe deeply in my heart that someone we should always mention is the honorable Dr. Claude Anderson. Okay, so shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. See what else everybody's talking about in here. I suggest Ice Cube contract with Black America actually becomes a contract with Black America. What? I suggest Ice Cube's CWBA actually become a contract. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, that's not a bad idea at all for that to, I guess there's some things that still need to be hashed out with it, you know, as far as what Ice Cube has said, you know, he's still trying to repair it and fix it. But I do like the idea of a legit, just straightforward contract, a set of agendas that if you're not meeting any of this stuff within this contract, well, then there's nothing to talk about with other politicians. So yeah, I do agree with that. Let me take a little swig of this water. Excuse me. How do you guys feel about Nina Turner? I'm not so sure about her. I don't know much about her. I mean, I know who she is. You know, I was watching one of her interviews recently. She says some stuff that sounds good and that sounds on point, but then a lot of it is also kind of consistently, it's kind of mixed in with BS Democratic talking points sometimes. I'm always very cautious, and I think the word is leery, you can say, of anybody that's being presented to me through the mainstream media. Once they're coming through the mainstream media, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not so sure about that, you know. So I don't know about her just yet, but I'm curious to what you guys think and feel about Nina Turner. Let's see what else you guys are talking about in here. Let's see what Damon is saying. If I will, politicians in our government would not acknowledge us as Native Americans honestly, why would they care about anything else, including reparations? This ultimate disrespect, right? I don't know. I think you're responding to somebody else. You know, I think you're responding to somebody else talking about being Native American. Okay, I brought up Nina Turner. The BT says she's not for us. Okay. Concerning Nina Turner, Lex C says, I think she's another puppet. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of people not really convinced with Nina Turner. Don't trust it. Okay. Let's see what this brother's saying, what Damon is saying. My personal opinion to repair is to reclaim our identity first. And I think a lot will fall right into place right after that. I'm not sure what you mean by reclaiming our identity. Are you talking about being descendant of American slavery? Or as some of you like to say, ADOS, some like to say FBA? Or are you talking about you being the Aborigines, you being Native, you being the true Native Americans? I'm not sure what you mean when you say that. I'm not sure what, you know what I mean? When we're talking about identity now, right now, I'm not sure. I saw somebody talking about Native Americans and all this stuff. I don't know what you mean by that. The homie Ryan Glenn says, I don't trust anyone associated with the fraud squad. Is Nina Turner associated with the fraud squad? I didn't know that. If she's associated with the fraud squad, then that's a big red flag. That's a big red flag if she's associated with the fraud squad. And for those who don't know what the fraud squad is, that's the squad with, AOC, Ayanna Pressley, and all those type of folks. She's a politician allied with the party. Okay, it looks like a lot of you aren't sold on Nina Turner. I saw a video. I didn't get to watch it yet. I think it was up on a African Diaspora News channel. I think it was about Nina Turner, where it said, no, it wasn't about Nina Turner. It was just some video that said D1 versus being B1. D1 mean Democratic first versus B1 Black first. I'm not sure if he was talking about Nina Turner, but a lot of you are not feeling her. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. There's a lot of nopes. In here. Oh, okay. You're saying she justifies the squad's actions. Okay, so she's not a part of the squad, but she basically kind of rolls with them, or she co-signs the squad. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit of a red flag. I don't know about co-signing the squad. I'm not so keen on that. Oh, really? She's also a hardcore intersectionalist. Okay. The thing with that, right? And that's interesting that Ryan Gled says she's a hardcore intersectionalist. That is something to watch out for. Like, here's the thing, right? We can't be so I want to use the right word. Maybe I'll say naive as to think that a politician will come into office and they will only work for us, but only, right? Especially if you're talking about somebody like just a politician in general, because they just technically they can't necessarily do that to a degree, right? There are going to be other things that they have to address and vote on. So there's always going to be, how do I put this? You're not going to get a politician that's like on some, super rah-rah B1 tip. And he's going to get in the office saying, I'm only here, like verbalizing that he's only here for Black folks. That's just not going to happen. It's not, in my personal opinion, that's not going to happen. In my personal opinion, that's not realistic, right? So that the intersectionalism kind of thing is always going to somewhat be there, but just to what degree is it there? I'll say, right? To what degree is it there? Are you forever and a day trying to interconnect Black history with everybody else's history and struggle, to which you've diluted any and everything that has to do with Black folks, right? Or do you take a common sense approach, right, towards dealing with, other communities and what needs to be done for them, as far as making sure to say your issues are your issues and we can get to that, but then when it comes to the Black community, their issues are their issues and we're going to speak on that as well. I think that the key is to make sure that we can find brothers and sisters on the grassroots that understand that and know how to, section off, Black community issues, Hispanic community issues, Jewish folks, so on and so forth. And that's something that we don't see now, particularly when it comes to Black issues, Black political issues. There's always that need to intertwine us in with everybody else. And that's something that's done very deliberately, Let's see, I'm gonna read off about 2 more comments, then I'm gonna dip. It's been 32 minutes. I'm just rambling right now. If you don't align, let's see what our brother is saying. Dominic Johnson, if you don't align with the issues of the Black community, I will not vote for you. I will not encourage people to vote for you. I agree. Let's see. Really, Malcolm X said 50 years ago that our people are treated like political football and to be weary of liberals. That is correct. Let's see what P. Burley is saying. They sit in on several different communities, but it does not mean they cannot be reparations advocates. That's 100% correct. That is 100% correct. They have to sit in on all issues concerning different communities. They have to. Like they have to do that, right? But like you said, it doesn't mean that they can't be reparations advocates. And that's at least for me just what I want to see. At least put up a fight, man. Put up a fight. Let me turn this light off. I'm getting hot. Let me turn this light off. I don't need all that. Whatever. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm getting hot. Now I'm really about to dip. And you see these games being played all the time like that. This intersectionality foolishness, and where folks act like they can't address reparations as a separate issue. It has to be something that's tied in with everybody else. You can sit in and discuss what needs to be done with other communities and speak with their, leaders or whatever, and still advocate for reparations and advocate for the things that are specifically for the Black community. And that's the thing to look out for. Is that what you're going to be about? That's what you got to look out for. Are you going to be about that? Are you going to actually fight for the Black community and get things specifically for us, just like how they do for everybody else? No politicians. What's Muffet saying? No politicians align with the Black community. Well, we'll see moving forward if we're actually bringing up our own politicians, like what I've been talking about, right? That's why we got to bring up our own. Let's see. Tanya says, you must be a bottom caste, unapologetic advocate. And I agree with that. you can't be afraid to be an unapologetic advocate. And most people are afraid to be, you know, but you can't be afraid to be. Bowman is the answer. Who is this? Chris Bronson is the answer. I don't know who that is, but I'll look into him. I'll look into Chris Bronson. But anyway, it's been 35 minutes. Let me go ahead and shut this thing down, man. I'm starting to get hot. Sweat beads are popping up on my forehead. It's like 81 degrees over here in LA today. So anyways, that's it, man. That does it for today's kind of, you could call it open chat, just very casual, you know, and whatnot. That does it for today, man. So I appreciate you all for tuning in and hear what I have to say. Hopefully, you know, you all take to what I'm saying. And like I said, submission at tdhiphop.com. Submission at tdhiphop.com. Any political candidates that you know of, that you're aware of in your community, in your ward, in your district, in your city, send them over my way through that email so that I can vet them. You know, I can just kind of look through their social media, see what they're about, see what they're, you know, if they're actually for us. And like I said, I want to take them and bring them on here to present them to you so that we can ask them some questions, you know, figure out who they truly are and what they're about, you know, via interview, and, you know, possibly put them in position to be able to win, you know, certain offices so that they could bring about change in our community. All right. So with all that being said, that is it for today's open chat. Have a great day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. Make sure you text TD Hip Hop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text message whenever I release a new video. But it also serves as a protection plan for myself in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe. I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. If you haven't already, please make sure you join the emailing list. That link should be in the description below. And, you know, you can show your support on Patreon for only $3 a month. That helps put me in position to be able to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. Until the next video, peace.